Hi, I'm your host, Marlo Lemon, and you're listening to Wild Voice, the podcast where I take this voice of mine and share my wild journey with you. Being widowed at 34 with a 15-month-old, most would see as life ending. And instead, I alchemized it and put life back together, and it became more beautiful and fulfilling than I could have ever imagined. Through this life shift of mine, I realized who I am and what I'm here to do. I'm an intuitive energy healer, and sharing how I view the world is how I help you upgrade your life and alchemize your journey into magic. From day one, I wanted to share my journey, call it intuition, but I knew it was going to do more good out in the world than keeping it to myself. So when I say I've mastered life, that doesn't mean I'm perfect or that life is. I mean, I've mastered the concept of life, and I want to share that with you. On today's episode, surprise, surprise, I'm telling you a story from my own life that magically has tools threaded into it so you can apply it to yours. Some weeks I have topics and episodes in the queue, and other weeks you are getting a topic in real time. Like literally, I had to go through something on a Tuesday or Wednesday so I can have the lesson to share with you by Thursday. It doesn't surprise me anymore that my life works this way, but I do still have my moments of being blown away by it. If you're wondering, this is one of those in real time kind of episodes. So this last week, or actually these last few months, I've been working the muscle of doing less of what I should and more of what I find pleasure in. I always know it's something I'm still moving through when I have a session with a client and the words coming out of my mouth are things I'm still grasping myself. In sessions, my higher self and source take over and bypass my shit and channel and relay exactly what a client needs in that moment. And at no surprise anymore, there is always a piece for me in there too. So I'm really good at being supportive. I'm really good at being selfless, and I'm really good at putting others before myself. And I'm really good at being compassionate. Besides giving you a handful of my soul attributes, which I've explained in past episodes, but these are the things that make us us, the things that no matter what form we take in these bodies or what we get from others, these are traits that are us at our core. I'm telling you this because these are also the things that can pull us out of balance quick if we don't pay attention. So as a little mid-story exercise, real quick, think of 4 things that are you on a soul level. Not things you do for other people, but things that are just you. Picture no one else is here and you are just this beautiful ball of energy and light, which is pretty accurate, by the way. But what are 4 things that make you you? Okay, now that you have those, pause this if you're still thinking. I want you to see where maybe, just maybe, those attributes have gotten you into a spot you didn't feel great about. So in turn, you curse those soul attributes and you start to see them as a pain in the ass, completely disregarding the good they do. Now here's what I mean. Because on a soul level, being compassionate is me at my core. I don't forget to be that way. No one has to remind me. I don't have to convince myself to act on it. It's more or less on autopilot. It does probably mean in this life, I probably have to find ways to master it and use this superpower for good though. So what that also can mean, if I'm out of balance in my life, it will be the attribute that is heightened, the thing that will also take me on a reflective, wild ride. For example, if I'm out of balance in pleasures in my life, things I enjoy and love, even the little things, and instead I'm filling my days with all of the shoulds and to-dos, because naturally they're piling up. If I'm feeling that way, that is my cue that a reflection is happening and something is out of balance. During those moments, I'll have a thought of, oh damn, I need help. I don't like this feeling. I want to feel different. That's my intuition, my soul self being present and like, okay, something needs to shift. Very quickly though, out of human survival, I'll go into compassion. Well, if I'm feeling this way, I know my partner is too. He has so much on his plate. Or if I'm feeling this way, Nash must be too. How tough it is to be a kid sometimes and navigate this world of independence and individuality while at the same time feel like someone else is telling you what to do. Or if I feel this way, my parents for sure must feel this way. They have so many kids and so many responsibilities, yet being able to be present for each one of us, they have a lot on their plate too. Or how about people struggling to find their purpose and knowing how hard that must be to live in that space? Because I've been there once too. Do you see what I just did here? I took something that was at an imbalance of mine that deserves my attention to get balanced for a million reasons. For how I feel, how I create, how I show up, how I lead by example, what my sole purpose is here. And I compassioned it to death for everyone but me. I stripped the validity of my experience for everyone else's. And that's no bueno. What this ended up looking like was with enough time, which in my lesson world, a couple weeks equals the feeling of months. I allowed it to build and build until one day, I think actually over the course of a couple days, it felt like it was leaking out of me. Side note, if you ever had this happen, it's because your soul self has decided to intervene and jump in to get the lesson, because our human self either isn't seeing it or is moving a little slow. And we need to get the gift so we can move on to the next thing. So as I've painted the picture of me leaking with imbalance, there was a day I had hit my limit of feeling not acknowledged, not noticed, not prioritized. Like here I was making sure everyone else was okay, but who was noticing me? I explained it like waving my hands in the air, like drowning and no one stopping their conversation long enough to notice. Now, spiritual healer and teacher 101, I know if I'm feeling this way, this is purely just a cue I'm out of balance. For any time we have a judgment or feeling or emotion about something. So I know this, but there was a little key to unlocking this lesson that I was being led to in this moment. I needed to see that yes, do the work and take responsibility. Then realize the next upgrade from that is letting someone else in, knowing that asking for help to take things off of my non-pleasurable plate so I can do what allows me to thrive is directly how I help those around me upgrade and thrive, which is an act of compassion in itself, for me and in turn for you. I was able to figure out that this was happening in real time as I was talking with the boyfriend about it. After he pulled up a chair to my desk one day while I was doing my best impression of giving the cold shoulder. It's very uncomfortable to me because it's not my MO, but I'm sure he might say I pull it off well. Sometimes I just can't control it. It's like my human self tantruming. Well, we had a convo that allowed me to talk it out past myself. And because I was ready on a soul level, I had done the behind the scenes legwork those weeks leading up, he was receptive to be that person naturally. There was no pushback, there was no defensiveness, there was no argument. It was just purely important because it was important to me. We figured it out together, and without knowing it, he was subconsciously ready and waiting to be told how to help. From his perspective, and what we realized is he was doing things he thought were helpful. I could see the effort, but we quickly noticed it wasn't bringing the release that I was looking for. So here he was, ready to do the things, but just needed me to direct the energy. And in case you have seen yourself in anything I have explained, the female energy tries to go into action mode when we get a feeling of overwhelm, and that burns us out. It's more of a fight or flight response for us, and that can only be upheld for so long until the crash, aka the cold shoulder. The male energy has different limits here. They have this unlimited energy to problem solve, sift through the shit to see clearly, and execute. They can withstand that naturally, and with even more ease when the feminine is directing the energy, allowing the fluidity of life and guiding with intuition. The combo together is magical. So to allow both of us to line up synergistically, I needed to step back into more of the feminine energy that comes naturally to me. So what I've learned instead, which I'm still mastering, is how beneficial it is to direct the energy, to guide it to what would make me the happiest, which I'm also figuring that part out of the equation. And this is what is the most streamlined way to everyone getting what they want. I can direct the energy and guide it, while also being compassionate and supportive, which in turn allows the boyfriend to pick up the pieces that I don't want to hold anyways, which oddly enough, he does. Funny how life works in our favor if we just sit back and let it. This way has had much more of an ease to it and has allowed me to show up in the ways that actually are more nourishing and supporting than doing all the house chores. I think this is what they call a win-win. Thanks so much for being here. Please rate, like, share, and review so we can stay connected and continue this magical journey together.